Eugenio Pacelli, who later became Pope Pius XII in 1917, resided in Germany and showed his bitterness towards the Jews when he refused to come to the assistance of Jews, calling them a Jewish cult. Pope Pius XII knew about the genocide carried out against the Jews, yet chose to remain silent about it. We will go into the darkest years of the past century, which are perhaps humanity's darkest years, find out what the Vatican knew about the Holocaust, and also learn about their ties with the Nazis. We will find out that the Vatican, more specifically the Pope, did not speak out against the Holocaust, nor condemn the Nazis for genocide, when he was completely aware of it. Personally, I have a strong connection with the Holocaust. My father is himself a Holocaust survivor, and the only survivor from his family. The rest were murdered. I therefore learned a lot about it from my father's own accounts, and also from books, classes, documentaries, etc. over the course of my lifetime. First, I will discuss how popes throughout history were anti-Semitic. Second, I'll cover how the Vatican never excommunicated Adolf Hitler, nor condemned the genocide he was leading, and reveal several ties between clergymen and the Third Reich. Third, I will talk about how the papacy knew of the mass murder of Jews, receiving several documented reports from honorable clergymen who chose to remain silent. Popes throughout history have supported anti-Jewish acts. The first ghetto was actually a Roman ghetto created by Pope Paul IV. This Catholic invention was later used by Nazis to gather and contain all the Jews of Europe. Banning Jews from working for public office and the enforcement of wearing yellow badges were also inventions of the Catholics. Having covered how Jews were denigrated by the papacy in the past, we will now talk about the ties Nazis had with the Vatican. It should not be forgotten that the Catholic Church has never excommunicated Adolf Hitler. Rather, the popes and other members of the Holy See had relations with the Nazis, especially with Adolf Hitler. Archbishop Alois Hudal, the creator of the German College in Rome, was a member of Hitler's government. Archbishop Cesare Arsenigo was a Nazi sympathizer. After World War II, several priests also protected Nazis from criminal charges. For example, Nazi sympathizers such as Father Dragonovich, Bishop Alois Hudal, and Bishop Alois Hudal helped Nazi criminals escape to South America by assisting them with false papers and hiding places in Rome. When Weizsäcker, the ambassador to the Vatican, was credited to the Vatican in 1943, the papal limousine that took him flew the papal flag and the swastika side by side. Now that we discussed how the Vatican did not condemn the Nazis, but actually had ties with the Nazis, we will move into how the Pope knew about the mass murder of Jews, but chose to remain silent. Pope Pius XII knew of the grotesque massacres held by the Nazis in World War II. By the autumn of 1941, the expropriation and concentration of Europe's Jewish population were well underway. The Einsatzgruppen, the mobile killing units that followed behind German forces, were doing their work. Upon arriving in a given locale, German SS and police personnel first shot Jewish prisoners and then all Jewish men, women, and children, as well as gypsies, Soviet political personnel, partisans, and others judged racially or politically unacceptable. The Vatican received several reports on what was taking place. They were among the very first to be reviewed by any government in the West. The first arrived on October 27. Monsignor Giuseppe Berzio, the Vatican charge of the affairs, revealed in a letter to Secretary of State Luigi Maglione that Jewish prisoners of war on territories overrun by German forces were being shot at once. In addition, he said, Jewish civilians, regardless of age or gender, were being rounded up and systematically massacred. As a response, the Vatican asked if it were Slovaks or Germans doing the shooting. His reply was over 3 months in coming, but what it lacked in promptness, it made up for precision of detail. The massacres, Berzio wrote succinctly, have been committed by squadrons of the SS by order of authorities of the German government. However, as if to emphasize the main point, Berzio repeated, all the Jews from a given locale were concentrated far from inhabited areas and massacred with machine gun fire. Another report concerning the Einsatzgruppen massacres was a belated report from the Eastern Rite Archbishop of Lvov. In the summer of 1941, thousands of Jews had been butchered by detachments of the mobile killing squads. By the spring of 1943, more than 1 million Jews and tens of thousands of others had been shot to death by the Einsatzgruppen. Anthony Springovics, Archbishop of Riga, Latvia's capital, on December 12, 1942, wrote to the Vatican that almost all the Jews in Latvia have now been killed. We now learned that Pope Pius XII and the Vatican knew about the mass murder of Jews, yet chose not to speak up against it. First, I discussed how popes throughout history were anti-Semitic. Second, it covered how the Holy See neither excommunicated Adolf Hitler nor denounced him for the mass murder of Jews, and reviewed several ties that clergymen had with the Third Reich. Third, it talked about how Pope Pius XII, along with the Vatican, knew about the mass murder of Jews from several documented reports that they received from trusty Catholic clergymen that chose to remain silent. It is important that we know about this dark past and learn from it. Only by realizing that flaws exist can we progress and fix them. But if we think that we're always infallible, we will never realize how far away from perfection we are. Catholic hierarchy believes in the infallibility of popes in matters of faith and morals ever since the First Vatican Council of 1870. Hopefully, after learning all we did about Pope Pius XII and many other clergymen, we can at least know for fact that popes are fallible, and it is only with this understanding that the Vatican will be able to correct itself by being able to say, sorry, we made a mistake.